Welcome to our community open morning. Today's aim is to give you an overview of our development on New Road that we are building on behalf of Weaver Vale Housing Trust. So Weaver Vale Housing Trust was successful in securing affordable homes grant from Homes England, which has helped the trust to continue to grow its affordable housing build plan. And that's where Lane End come into really. So these homes will be for affordable rent, and we are building them on behalf of Weaver Vale Housing Trust, and they will be handed over in due course. There's some actually getting handed over next week. And this is built on New Road in Winsford, so I'll show you where that is in a second. The development will consist of 6 two-bedroomed houses and 4 three-bedroomed homes, along with 20 two-bedroom and 16 one-bedroom apartments. So all homes will also include designated parking and green spaces. I'll just show you a little bit of a map. So here's a nice Google Images view of where the development is. I think this was actually taken last year. As you can see, Chris, it's kind of like as the site was getting built, so you can see the layout of the site a little bit there from the aerial shot. Yeah, I know, it's quite interesting to see it like that, isn't it? Here is a site plan as well, so we can refer back to that in a second as well if there's any further questions regarding the site plan, just to show where the houses will be situated and also the apartment blocks as well. So I'll just go through who is actually on the call today. We've got people both from Weaver Vale Housing Trust and also people from Lane End Group on here as well, and we all work on the development together in joint partnership to work in the community and also to complete the build. So you've got myself, I am social value manager, and I support with every aspect of getting involved in the community, making sure the site is given back. We've also got Chris Smith, who is the project manager at Lane End Group, so he oversees everything that goes on site. If you can give us a wave, Chris.
Hello.
Thank you. And then we also have Sue Donovan on the call as well, who's the Home Moves team leader from Weaver Vale Housing Trust, if you want to give us a wave as well.
Hi.
Hi, Sue. We've also got Lynn Hamlet on the call as well, who I unfortunately haven't put on the agenda. I do apologise, Lynn. But Lynn looks after the work team at Weaver Vale, if you wouldn't mind just saying hi, Lynn.
Hi, Lauren.
Thank you. So I'll just give you a quick update of what's actually going on site and where we are up to in terms of construction programme. So I'll pass you over to Chris. Chris is extremely busy at the moment. As I've said, we've got handovers coming up next week. So as soon as Chris is given this construction update, he will have to jet off back onto site, but I'll just let him give that over to you now. So Chris, there's a little bit of an update on the screen there, but if you just want to lead on that for a second, thank you.
Yeah, so we handed over 9 houses to Weaver Vale on Monday just. People have moved in already. We're looking to hand over the 10th house on the 19th of September, and then we're looking at to hand over the first 6 apartments on the 26th of September. So that will be phase A complete and handed over to Weaver Vale, ready for their customers to move in. We're currently started site B around 6 weeks ago. Substructure brickwork is complete, and we are aiming to put the beams on the ground floor slab next Wednesday. So that is currently on construction programme, ready to hand over in June 2023. All items are going well on phase B at the minute, so fingers crossed they continue.
Oh, amazing. Thanks so much, Chris. I'll just quickly go back to the site update as well, so you can get the site plan, so you can get a bit of a context of where Chris is talking about. So the site plan on there, that's just, is that just site A, Chris, or is that the full site?
No, that's site A and B. So you've got on the left of the screen, you've got the 10 houses, you've got a block of 4 and then 3 pairs of semis.
Great.
And then next to that in the middle, you've got phase A apartments. And then to the right, the building on the right, that's phase B apartments.
Amazing. Thanks so much for clarifying that, Chris. Well, I'll let you get going back onto site. I know you need to get moving on that, so that's absolutely fine. Thank you for joining the call, Chris.
Thank you very much, and nice to meet you all.
Thank you, Chris. Bye.
See you later.
So that is the construction update from Chris. A little bit of a whistle-stop tour of what's going on site. So our team are on there every single day, Monday to Friday, working really hard to kind of continue the build to get it on programme for Weaver Vale Housing Trust and handover. So it's really exciting that we've actually already started to hand over those homes this week, and we'll shortly see people moving into those hopefully. So it's gone full circle. The next section of what we will normally go through on these open mornings is a community update as well. So working with Weaver Vale Housing Trust, Lane End are a really community focused developer. As part of any development that we work on, we make sure that we've got a solid social value strategy running through all of our developments, to make sure that we're really giving back to the communities in which we build, and that can be in various ways, such as working with the community on community projects, or perhaps making sure that we've got local labour on site and apprentices to make sure that the site is really getting the most out of the community, and giving local people employment opportunities. As we all know at the moment, that is very much needed. We're working with Weaver Vale to do that, in particular Lynn and her team, to get that up and running, with the work team on there. We've had apprentices join us on the development, from bricklaying apprentices through to plastering apprentices, and various different trades. There's a couple of social value statistics on the screen there. So we've got 16 local contractors currently that have worked on site, and we've dedicated 150 hours to supporting local schools and colleges, which is really important to us to make sure that we are raising aspirations in the area and letting people know what careers are out there, particularly in construction and housing, and also the wider the skills that are needed to get people back into work at the moment. We've had 10 work experience and careers programmes delivered on the site, so that's working with various different organisations such as the Cheshire Pledge and schools and colleges to get those work experience programmes off the ground. 15 apprenticeships have been offered on the development, and we've donated just over £16,000 to local charities and NFP community organisations, and there's a couple of those listed there from the Winsford area that we have donated to in volunteer time and monetary value. We've also donated over 479 hours to supporting those local charities. So it just gives you a little bit of a snapshot, really, that obviously we are building affordable homes, but at the same time we are reaching out into the community and giving back as much as we can, creating a lasting legacy for when we complete the site. I don't know whether you have anything else to add to that, Lynn. Obviously we worked together on a lot of those.
We've done some great work, such as converting the room at the GGO bungalow so that the community can actually go in and wash uniforms if there are problems with the washing machine. And the new images development was really good as well. So converting a little tatty room into a nice quiet room for counselling, which will be really well used. So I think those two are particularly notable. And also, the thing that makes a difference, you donated, I think it was about 40 litter pickers for our Wharton community litter pick. Yeah. And they're still in use. So, you know, it's a legacy, isn't it? It goes on.
Yeah, definitely. And it's the story behind that as well, and we do share that on our social media with Weaver Vale and on our website, so make sure you're following both Lane End and Weaver Vale Housing Trust to be able to catch up with what's going on. But I think those three things that you mentioned, Lynn, are really important because they'll be impactful for long after the development has completed, and obviously our contractors have gone off site, and it benefits so many people in the community that are struggling right now.
Yeah, I think the legacy is fantastic, isn't it? That's the thing. And of course the work that you're now doing with the community grocery, so you've really embedded yourself into the community of Winsford, haven't you? And yes, I think that's important. Yeah, we've adopted you, Lauren. Adopted you.
Yes, we like to think we are now adopted Winsford locals, but that's just like how we like to do things, you know, really get involved as much as we can.
Well, I think if you look at the knock-on effect, so all of your guys on site actually buying from local shops, their sandwiches and their pies. Yeah. I mean, that's so good for these little shops and chip shops. You know, you've been there a long time now, and that makes a big difference to those businesses.
Yeah, it does. We really encourage that use of like local business use as well. So even with our subcontractors, we try and make sure that our subcontractors are from the local area where possible. So it's just kind of giving back to local businesses as well. Construction can actually bring a hell of a lot of opportunity to a town whilst it's being built. So no, it's great work, and obviously we want to get more involved in the community. So if anybody who is listening to the call now has any other projects that are ongoing, then either let myself or Lynn know, and we're happy to look at how we can get involved. Thank you, Lynn, for providing an update with me there. I'll just hand over to Sue Donovan, who is from the Housing Department at Weaver Vale Housing Trust as well, just to give a bit of an update on that, and obviously how people can apply for the homes as well. Yeah, a little bit of an overview about Weaver Vale Housing Trust. Thank you, Sue.
Hi, morning everyone. Obviously, Weaver Vale Housing Trust, we were formed as the stock transfer from the large scale stock transfer back in 2002. We operate mainly in the Cheshire West, Cheshire East areas, and obviously we've got some stock in Warrington as well now, around about 6,300 properties. Obviously the flats and the apartments, houses that are being built by Len and in Winsford now are let via the West Cheshire Homes choice-based letting site. So the access route to apply for the properties has been through West Cheshire Homes, and that's the local choice-based letting scheme operated across the Cheshire West and Chester area. Customers apply for housing, their housing need is assessed, they are placed into a band and then are readily able to bid for vacancies, which is kind of what's happened with the properties that are being built off Robinson's Lane. The web address, if people need to apply for subsequent vacancies, is obviously included. It's www.westcheshirehomes.co.uk. It's an online application form. We encourage people who are looking for social housing to make that application, have their need assessed, and then they can actively bid for properties. We are at the moment obviously taking handover of the houses, and we've successfully allocated the houses, and as Chris said earlier, customers are actually moving in, having signed up on Monday. They were moving in as soon as the staff were leaving site, which was really exciting to see. So pleased to get their brand new home. And we are working to allocate the remaining flats at the moment. So we know the handover for the apartments is scheduled towards the end of September. And we are actively completing the last allocations for those properties with the aim of getting everybody moved in on handover day and a few days later. Apartments are beautiful, houses are beautiful. They're going to offer really, really lovely properties for people, so needed in the area. Some of the views from some of the top floor apartments are absolutely cracking over the river, and I'm sure people are going to be absolutely delighted with the overall finish. So we're really excited to take handover and obviously see people moving into their new homes. Just as an aside as well, we obviously operate with Cheshire West and Chester Council for customers looking for housing. We do also advertise through Rightmove, so customers who are looking for properties, it's worth, if it's particularly Cheshire West area, making that application, but also keeping an eye on Rightmove, just in case there's any properties owned by the trust that are advertised through there, just to obviously assist people with their search for much needed rented housing, really. So a whistle-stop tour from me.
Thank you so much, Sue. That was really interesting. I think it sounds really simple, actually, and I think a lot of people from because we do get feedback from the community, because sometimes people assume that Lane End are actually kind of selling the homes or letting the homes, but we are just a developer, and Weaver Vale will be managing the housing side of things. So it's really interesting to see how simple that is, and we'll be passing that on to anybody that asks ourselves or the site team. But yeah, all of the information is there, so that's really great. And you're absolutely right about the apartments, who are beautiful. I think I was blown away that you can actually see the river when you're on the top floor apartments. They're really nice, aren't they? So they're going to make beautiful homes that people can enjoy for years to come. They're really high quality spec as well.
Lovely and bright. They're really, really bright. The windows, lovely large windows, lots of natural light coming in all the properties, you know, which is really, really lovely. And there's a feeling of space for sure. Yeah,
cheap to run, because they're so well built, aren't they? They are beautiful. Yeah. When we visited, my friend, when we visited, my apprentice wanted to move in there and then. So
I do
Yeah.
remember that, yeah.
Yeah.
We had to get her off site quick, didn't we, before she
We
started
did.
putting the sofa in.
We did.
But no, they are beautiful. They are really nice, and they're obviously quite close to the town centre as well, I've noticed, and obviously lots of shops and things like that. So it's amazing to see that people have moved in, and it's always quite humbling as a contractor to see that, because that is the end goal, you know, that you have people walking into the houses that are built by our team with such hard work, and then people can actually enjoy those homes, because that's what they're for. So it's been really great, and it's been a really good week for both sides, for both Weaver Vale and for Lane End.
The staff signing up Monday, it's a lovely job when you do that, when you're taking brand new properties for handover, and the customers are so excited. You get tears of emotion, you know, tears of joy. And then as you're leaving site and you're physically seeing the vans and things moving onto site and customers already moving in, despite saying be a couple of days before I'm in, they're straight in. They're so excited, and they're obviously going to make it home, which is great. So really good results. Yeah.
No, it's really nice. So please do get in touch with Weaver Vale Housing Trust if you're interested in those homes. Thank you so much, Sue.
No problem.
We have got a few questions that have been submitted. The first one was from Mrs. Frey, who asked, when will the job be completed and when are people moving into the homes? But I think we've covered that just now, to be honest, Mrs. Frey. So the job is completed in phases. So obviously the first part has been handed over and people have already started to move in. So the next phase really, I think, might be the apartment blocks from what Chris said. But I think keep in touch with Weaver Vale Housing Trust to know when that will be happening, and also on Weaver Vale Housing Trust social media. I'm guessing you share those types of things on there. Any updates on that?
Yeah. So obviously the date that we're working towards is the end of September for the apartments. The house is already handed. Obviously, you know, the confirmation will be confirmed with the people who are lined up, and anyone who's got queries can obviously contact the team directly.
Thank you. So that's great. Thanks for clarifying. Great. So hopefully that answers your question. Mr. O'Sullivan asked, do the parking spaces have electric charging points? So I've had a little bit of a research into this one from our design team. So I've been told that on each of the houses, each house does have an electric charging point for electric vehicles. So that is 10 in total for the houses. And then it's also in line with the planning conditions. I think it's 1 in every 10 flats. You need to allocate at least one electric charging point for vehicles. So we've got 4 for the apartment block being installed, and then we've also got 3 that will be installed for the second half of the site for Site B. So in total, there is quite a few electric charging points that will be on the development. Obviously that's kind of creating a little bit more contingency for the future when people, you know, need to have electric vehicles. So hopefully that answers your question there, Mr. O'Sullivan. Thank you. Mr. Potts also asked how can he apply to live in the apartments, but Sue, you covered that earlier. So it's just, I'll just put the email address back up there. Sorry, the website address back up there to apply for the apartments, and obviously just to submit any questions to Weaver Vale regarding that. And then Mrs. Novak also asked, is there a waiting list for the houses at the moment? So Sue, I don't know how that works in terms of like the next phase. Are they already allocated?
The houses are allocated, so the houses for the site are all allocated now. So there won't be any subsequent adverts for the properties house-wise. There'll be an extra apartment block obviously next year, which Chris mentioned, but the houses are allocated. So really, if someone's looking for housing and they're looking for rented housing and they're looking for alternative areas, it's definitely the West Cheshire Home site to make that initial inquiry.
Great, thank you so much for clarifying that. So if anybody else got any further questions, you can contact any of the team on here today, or contact Weaver Vale, and we'll be happy to point you in the right direction or answer that if we can. So that concludes our open morning. So thank you very much everybody for attending.